What's going on everyone, and welcome back to another video. My name is Oman and today's analysis video is going to be about the Premier League game between Chelsea and Manchester United. So Chelsea lined up in a 4-3-3 formation on paper, but their formation on the ground was mostly 4-2-3-1, with the two-man midfield of Jorginho and Kovacic, with Mason Mount at the number 10 position. And with possession, they mostly had a 2-1-2-5 formation with both the fullbacks moving up to provide the attacking width. While Manchester United, on the other hand, lined up in a 3-4-1-2 formation which mostly shifted to a back five without possession. Manchester United decided to keep both Anthony Martial and Daniel James high and wide, even without possession, to attack the wide areas on transitions that Chelsea's fullbacks were leaving. Manchester United tried to create a 1v1 position all over the ground in this game by man-marking Chelsea's midfield and front lines. So this is how the two teams were set up on the ground: Chelsea's 4-3-3 formation against Manchester United's 3-4-1-2. With possession, Chelsea's fullbacks moved up, and they were covered by Manchester United's wingbacks. The front two on Chelsea's centre-backs, with Bruno Fernandes on Jorginho, Matic and Fred on Kovacic and Mason Mount, and the back three were on Chelsea's front three. And thus there was a 1v1 situation all over the ground. Front two on the two Chelsea centre-backs, wing-back on the full-back, Bruno Fernandes on Jorginho, Matic on Kovacic and Fred on N'Golo Kante. 1v1 all over the ground. Pedro drops deep to receive the pass from Azpilicueta, and Bay immediately leaves his line to cover Pedro to ensure the 1v1 marking. Bay leaves his line, moves to the Chelsea half, and Pedro is forced to go back. Because of this tight man marking, Chelsea at the start of the game were finding it hard to penetrate in Manchester United's final third. But as the game progressed, Chelsea started using this man marking to their benefit to create opening in Manchester United's defense. So as the game progressed, Willian and Pedro got narrow, and that opened the spaces behind the Manchester United wingbacks for Kovacic and Mason Mount. Kovacic and Mason Mount started making runs in those wide areas, and that forced Matic and Fred to move to the wide areas to keep the marking on Kovacic and Mason Mount. Mason Mount and Kovacic started making runs in the wide areas to pull the Manchester United midfielders out of their positions, and that opened a big space in the middle of the ground. Pedro and Willian often dropped in that space to receive the ball, and whenever they dropped deep, they pulled the respective centre-back out of his position to open the space in Manchester United's defense for the one of the midfielders. Kovacic and Mason Mount have moved to the wide area to pull Matic and Fred out of their positions to open the gap in the middle of the ground. Pedro drops deep to receive the ball, and that has forced Bay to leave his line and cover Pedro in between the lines. Bay leaves his line to cover Pedro, and that has opened a big space in Manchester United's defense for Pedro to play a through ball for Mason Mount. Mason Mount receives the ball and plays a cutback to Batshuayi, who should have scored the goal. Once again, Mason Mount takes away Fred, Matic on Kovacic, and that again opens the door for Pedro to drop in the middle space to receive the ball. Pedro's deeper position has once again forced Bay to step out of his defensive line, and that has again opened the gap in Manchester United's defense. Wan-Bissaka is covering Azpilicueta's run, so Batshuayi makes the run in the central space, but Harry Maguire did a very good job of defending the through ball. Manchester United, on the other hand, mostly created their chances using their front three, who created some issues for Chelsea's defense with their off-the-ball runs. With possession, Manchester United wingbacks were pulling the Chelsea fullbacks out of their positions to open the gaps in the wide areas. Bruno Fernandes was the one who was trying to make runs in these wide spaces behind the Chelsea fullbacks, with Daniel James and Anthony Martial attacking the goal box in a 1v1 position against the Chelsea centre-backs. Bay to Wan-Bissaka, who pulls Azpilicueta out of his position to open the space for the one of Bruno Fernandes. Azpilicueta steps out to cover Wan-Bissaka, and Bruno Fernandes makes the run in the open space. But Jorginho does a very good job of tracking his run. Jorginho mostly did a very good job of tracking these runs of Bruno Fernandes, but whenever he lost track of Bruno Fernandes, this is when things became tough for Chelsea. This time Reece James steps out to cover the Manchester United wingback, and Bruno Fernandes once again moves to the wide area, and that has forced Christensen to move wide. Bruno Fernandes has forced Christensen to move wide, and that has opened the space in the central zone. Anthony Martial to Bruno Fernandes, and Bruno's one-touch pass back to Anthony Martial in the open space. And we all know pace is not Jorginho's strength, who fails to match Martial's pace. Martial wins the battle of pace against Jorginho and gets a free shot at the goal. Martial scored the first goal for Manchester United, and even though Christensen should have done better against Martial in that 1v1 position, but he was not the only one at fault for that goal. John Terry highlighted Rudiger's bad positioning in his post-match interview, which I have tried to explain in the following images. There are 5 Chelsea players in the box and only 2 Manchester United attackers. Rudiger can easily pass on James to Jorginho or Azpilicueta, and he can step back to cover the space in front of the 6-yard area. Rudiger's advanced position left the gate open for Martial to make a run in front of Christensen. If Rudiger had passed on James to another player and had taken a step back, it would have closed the door for Martial's run. So both Rudiger and Christensen were equally responsible for this goal. Rudiger's bad positioning and Christensen's inability to deal with a 1v1 position inside the box made it 1-0 for Manchester United. Chelsea did score a goal very early in the second half, which was ruled out by VAR. There were many controversial moments in this game, but I won't go into the details of the referee decisions as it's not a part of this video. Chelsea once again created chances, but just like their previous games, they were not clinical and they couldn't convert those chances into goals. Manchester United, on the other hand, were very clinical with their finishing, and now they are just 3 points behind Chelsea in the table. And with this victory, Manchester United have completed a league double against Chelsea for the first time since 1998. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.